A warm welcome to you, Dr. Kalpalatha Guntupalli, to the studios of Sri Sathya Sai Media Center.
Sairam.
It's an absolute honor and a privilege to have you with us in Prasanthi Nilayam for this. You are someone who is known as a master clinician, someone who has won Lifetime Achievement Awards, Presidential Awards for academic excellence, for patient care, and also someone who is known to have a golden heart, always trying to see how you can give back to society in so many ways, and who has experienced the power of this unseen hand of God. Can we begin from there? Tell us about how you have felt this energy, which is larger than we are.
I've been doing this for a long time. I've been a physician and a specialist for few decades now.
More than
So
3 decades.
more than 4 decades.
4 decades.
So I've seen a lot of sickness. I've seen a lot of sorrow. I've seen death. I've seen a lot of things. And my specialty is lung disease and intensive care. So as you know, in intensive care, the sickest of the sick come there. So I see a lot. I have seen a lot. And I've seen some unexpected tragedies happen. And, if you haven't seen any, then you haven't done enough. That's what we say in medical field. So I've seen a lot. But since coming to Swami's fold, I have become sensitive to certain aspects of medical care and outcomes. And something that comes to my mind after coming into Swami's fold was a very young patient that was in the ICU, had a teenage son, was extremely sick, as all of them are, was on a ventilator, then came off of a ventilator. And then she had a procedure and she very unexpectedly totally crashed, completely crashed. And she was had no chance. Everything I read, my 40 plus years of experience and my knowledge, and everything said that she's not going to make it. And it was very unexpected. She was young. Her kid was hanging around there, very sad. And I felt miserable, And we did everything. We immediately, when she crashed, we immediately went into action, did everything that we need to do. And then 2 days later, I had to go on some scheduled vacation on a cruise. And then no internet connection. And I honestly did not enjoy my holiday because it was bothering me so much that this lady wasn't going to make it. So a week later, I come back and I asked my colleague who was taking care of her, I said, how is so-and-so? And she said, why don't you go see? And, I said, oh my God, what am I going to see? At least she's still around. So I go there and she's sitting in bed and she's eating breakfast. And I said, oh my God. And so the nurse was saying, this was a doctor who took care of you when you were pretty much gone. And she said, oh, is that what happened? And, and again, sometimes when they recover also, they have complications. So 6 months later, one of my other colleagues, where she does follow up with her, she texted me. She said, I know you took care of her and she's doing fine and she's in the clinic and, her son is very happy. She's fine. And that was a time I really felt, you can be doing all of these for years and years and you do your best. And always, as professionals, we do our best in the best interest of the patient. But this I thought was a total miracle. And, several other things happened, but this really comes to my mind. I said, unless there was some divine intervention, I was expecting to see very bad outcome. And so I really felt actually Swami's presence at that time. I said, this was unbelievable.
And you have experienced that. I mean, you may give medicines, but there's someone else who cures.
Always. Always. I think that is the best attitude as well. So things don't get to your head because they say doctors have a lot of egos. So it's good.
So Bhagawan, of course, used to always say that humility is the hallmark of a doctor. Tell us more stories about, how this aspect of faith got more and more instilled in you as you saw this beautiful hand of God at work in your workplace.
Faith, as you know, is beyond logic. You develop faith because you have experienced. It's faith is individual. If you say something you experienced, I will say, "Oh, is that so?" And it doesn't really sink into me. I can't internalize it. So if something happens to you in person, you actually internalize and faith. And if I say what my experience is to somebody else, they may think, so what, or it was coincidental or something like that. For me, it is real, and it is that's what faith is. And I came into Swami's fold rather late in life. I had nobody in my immediate family that was following him. Although I'm from Andhra Pradesh, I knew of him growing up, but I left India in 1973. So by that time, I had a lot of friends or relatives who knew of him and were following him ardently. But my encounter came in 2011 when Swami was not doing well, and I was asked to come and uh, just see him. And that was completely unexpected, out of the blue. I did not know. Until then, I had no interaction. I did not know of his mission. I did not know anything about the Sai mission. I had some friends, but it was just very casual. And I had no desire also. So, when I was coming on the flight, I just said, "Where am I going? What's going?" I got a call at 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. I made reservations, and by next day afternoon, I was on the flight. And as I was just driving into the Pathi, I saw like Swami's photos and the water project. I mean, there was a lot of hoardings that you see, and it was just for me, it was like a little kid in a new store. Everything seemed like a very different. And once I came into the ashram and had interaction with the doctors, saw the super specialty hospital, and what actually I was blown away was the most advanced care that was being delivered in the hospital in the most compassionate manner, most humane manner, and with no billing department. And I've been in leadership positions in several organizations, and I've visited at least 50 countries by that time, not just as a traveler or a visitor, but have seen the medical facilities and various systems throughout the world. And I said, I have not seen this anywhere. You know, it just blew me away. So, um, although I did not have interaction with Bhagawan, just if somebody can inspire the doctors and the whole team to dedicate their lives to such a mission, what else do you need in Bhagavan? So that's what really inspired me. And when I went back to Houston, for 1 or 2 years, not much happened. It was, I would call it like incubation period for me. And then suddenly, small things started happening that I felt were calling. One or two would have been coincidences, but some of them were totally um, amazing, unexpected, impossible. So I felt like there's something there's something is happening here. So I started going to Sai Center, and my interaction with them was that's another thing. I think that people don't realize when you're a devotee or a Sai student or any of those that you are associated with an organization, that you really represent the values. Because for me, when I walked into the Sai Center and felt the warmth and the nurturing and non-judgmental nature and just being friendly, and I just felt so good. Just one visit when I was coming, this study circle, the bhajans, everything about it was just so beautiful that I wanted to be associated with it. And there was not much of introduction. I wanted to know more about the organization, more about the mission, and there was not much that I got from in a formal way. So I started surfing the internet, and I'm pretty compulsive that way. So I everything there's in public space in the next few months, like almost several hours a day, I would just see it, and then I just loved the and almost I would say a year later is when somebody told me about Radio Sai. They said download it onto your mobile, and you can. And then I started watching everything there is on Radio Sai. All the ones where I got the most information about Bhagawan and his mission was really from the students. Fleeting moments and lasting memories. I felt they were so genuine, and I felt Sevadal and students. I mean, Swami said it, but I discovered it much later. That is so true. Tryst with divinity. At some point, I would watch it so much before going to bed that my husband started sleeping in another room. He said, "All night you're doing this. This is going on in the computer." So anyway, it was a good learning experience for me. I really knew about the organization. I can't say I know it, but I know what it stands for and the values, and that's what really attracted me to get involved more.
The way Bhagwan has opened up new vistas in your thinking, in your approach to life, in your approach to seva, that is so beautiful. You were always engaged in many service initiatives, social welfare initiatives, I think in US or in other countries and India. So tell us, after knowing Bhagwan, what difference it made in your social work?
I mean, you are absolutely right when you say that, he just brought you into the fold whenever he thought it was an opportune time. I think that is probably true. At that time, I did not know. 2 3 years down the line, when I got really, got to, I thought I had little bit clarity on what the mission of the organization was. And one day I just said, why did you bring me at that time? Why? I mean, all those years you were here, I never got to see him. And why? And then something comes in the mail, your mission has just begun. I mean, things like that, I can't tell you. I mean, so it just says your mission has just begun. And there was something else. But I said, oh my God, this is something. I mean, you just ask and it happens. And, lots of things like that. So I had no doubt in my mind that uh, it doesn't matter what stage you get involved. So it really doesn't matter. So I met Mr. Ramesh Wadhwani, who is associated with the Satsang organizations and does a lot of work with supporting, various programs. So I was fortunate to meet him, and that was almost 2015, almost 4 years later. And then there was no turning back, and he has gotten me involved in all their medical missions that they support. So it gave me an opportunity to be in a very structured way, you know, to be responsible for a certain amount and to put it to good use that will help a lot of people. So, so that's how I got involved. I'm a teacher all my life. And so we started with that. So I started with conferences in Whitefield Hospital. I do critical care conferences there in general for generalists in the general hospital here. And then I've seen all of their facilities and the mobile hospital. And we come every year, bring a team of doctors. not necessarily Sai devotees. We expose a lot of other doctors as well. And, it's a great, beautiful learning experience. We learn from each other. We do a lot of workshops, share best practices. And that has been a very rewarding experience. We do every year. And the organizers, Dr. Chalam, puts the program in front of Swami in Whitefield. And by the time he bows down and gets up, it's full of vibhuti. So we know Swami is blessing the programs. And I've been able to, because I've been a teacher all my life, lots of trainees go through our program, hundreds of them. So I've been able to um, motivate some of the people who are not even Sai devotees, come and spend a month or two teaching and, learning themselves. Right now, I have somebody in Whitefield Hospital and here for a month. He's not a Sai devotee, but that's the kind of involvement that I've had.
So when you bring people of this nature who are new to Bhagwan's institutions or this philosophy of care that is delivered here, what has been their experience and what have they said about the medical mission that is run by the Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust?
I mean, first, when they come, it's like any other conference or any other visit that they're making. Most of them are pretty well known. They've gone to several other countries and hospitals. And once they come here and they see a lot of things are, a lot of communication, more than 60% is nonverbal. You can see the sincerity in a person, you can see the humbleness in a person, you can see the a genuineness in a person. So they see that in Sevadals or anybody they're interacting with. And they can see that there's no billing department. And that's what blows them away, is that this state-of-the-art care with patient doesn't have to worry about losing their life savings or selling their house to pay the bills. So that's what really makes them. And then they say, oh my God, how can people be inspired to continue in this kind of work? So then they go into who founded this and so on. So it's from day one to the time they leave, there's a big transformation you can see. And they want to come back.
You've also been very deeply involved with the mobile hospital, and I think that's again a very unique outreach program. What are your thoughts on this initiative?
I mean, for me, there's a signature for every organization. I've been with several other, um, organizations and spiritual organizations. Everyone has a signature. Some people may have like jnana, they're only into reviewing scriptures, or, somebody may be into meditation. But I think the signature of Sai organization is a seva activity. So I think the highlight of that really medically, I feel, is the mobile hospital. As I mentioned, I've been to a lot of places. I have not seen anything like this anywhere in the world. So, but I feel here, it's almost a miracle on wheels. You're taking the medical care to the needy at their doorstep. And I think that's the best. And this is really the best of the best. The program in Puttaparthi, the mobile hospital program, is the best of the best. I mean, there are other places in India and other parts that Sai organizations are doing, but this is the most mature. It's 18 years. I was here in December for their 18-year program. I mean, they have, it's really not a mobile van, it's a mobile hospital, because they have all specialties and they have what they call continuity of care for 18 years. And it's just, I think it's just a miracle. And if somebody is able to duplicate this model at that level, I mean, I think it would be really fantastic. I think this is something throughout the country, if they can kind of duplicate it, this would be a fantastic model to duplicate.
It's so beautiful to see that what started all these medical missions, way back. The general hospital started in 54,
Mm-hmm.
56, and all the other hospitals, and they continue. And I think it has inspired a lot of people in different ways, small and big, world over, isn't it?
Yes, I think the need is different, the capability is different, the capacity and the motivation of the person leading may be different. So you can't have the same formula for everything, but probably you can have a hub and spoke model where you have a hub that is fully mature, like the program here, and you have small spokes that are at various levels. You can do different models. I think it's time that these are evaluated depending on, what is the capability and what is the need at different levels.
And when you look at the mobile hospital or all the other medical service delivered here, apart from it being offered free of cost, and apart from it being the best in terms of medical expertise, they are also very spiritual, in the sense that Bhagawan always told that you look at that other person as God, look at that other person uh, as someone who has given you the opportunity to serve. And I think that is again something very beautiful.
Yeah, that's. I'm glad you. It's kind of interesting you mentioned that, and I said I've been a teacher all my life and a program director for training programs, and we had at one point, when they're not doing well, you're supposed to counsel them and things like that. I had somebody, one of my trainees, who was just a disaster, like, bad bedside manners and bad knowledge and, bad peer interaction. Everything about him was like not good, And how am I going to graduate this person? Plus, knowledge was also bad, which means he's an academic risk. He won't pass the exam. There, if they don't pass the exam, it reflects badly on the program. So I just didn't. I mean, nobody wants to deal with bad. I mean, like failure has no no father, right? Success has a lot of people who claim. So he was going to come and see me. He would see me every week. I have to see him every week. So every time he would come, I would say, I would think of Swami. I said, please let me see you in him, because I cannot take what is going on. So that's how I got through. I mean, he got through. We got him. I mean, all the problems got fixed. But honestly, every time I would sit on this side, he would sit there. I would tell Swami, please let me see you in him, so I don't get mad. You know. So that's how he helped me.
And I guess when you do that with patients also, I think automatically you perhaps develop more patience dealing with the patient. You perhaps have much more compassion in your heart when you could try to
Yeah.
look at the other person
Yeah, I
as
think
divine.
especially in my field, I mean, patients are very sick, families are worried, and there's so much of burnout in the families as well. Anxiety, depression, even the families go through that. So you have to have very good communication skills. That's really a key, and so I think it's there. And another thing that helped me after I came into Swami's fold was, like, if I saw a homeless person, we do have there as well, I would avoid them. I would look the other way, I won't make eye contact. But afterwards, then I started saying I would buy these biscuit packets and keep in my car. And if there's a red light and I see, and I'll pull the window down, I'll actually see and talk to him, and give him a pack of biscuits or something. And I would actually look forward to for the red light at that time. I don't want to drive past. And if I don't see those persons, I'll say, God, I hope I don't see him in the ICU as a patient, because they're not getting good care.
Mm.
And so that was a little bit different. I don't like to waste food. There's so much of wastage. I'll go find somebody to put it to good use. Of course, there's good work happening in Sai centers in US also. They do a lot of service like that. But at a personal level, some of those things have kind of changed.
So many little things have happened within you after Bhagwan entered your heart, in your personal life as well as in your professional life.
Yeah, now I feel like I'm not alone at all. I can say anything. I remember, like I said, I watch everything. I remember one episode where he says that don't treat me like a photo, treat the photo like me. So I have a photo, big one, in my bedroom, and I'll talk to him anything I want. I can be just something, whatever I want to say, which is nice. I don't have anything I don't share with anybody, I'll share with them, which is there to listen. And, sometimes things happen. I would be very upset and go to bed very upset. And in the middle of the night, I'm just laughing out so loud because I don't even know why, because he did something. So, at a personal level, it's very fulfilling. It's nice to have that somebody has your back, have that feeling. And in professional life as well, you have a backup plan.
Wow.
So it's very nice.
So it's almost like you have a friend with you. It's a very dear
Absolutely.
friend
He says, he says that, right?
Yes.
I'm with you,
in you, around
around you, always.
And in fact, Bhagwan says that the best relationship you can have with me is to make me your friend.
Yes. Yeah, it's very nice. And I think if you're very sincere and you have even like a second of connect, something will happen. That's how I felt many times. There is always a wonder of exploration. There's always this wonderful. It's like a little kid in a candy store. Then afterwards, you've had enough of the candy, you settle down and you just begin to enjoy the experience. I think that's the stage I'm in now. I don't need to do anything every day.
Wow.
And I know he's there.
Wow. In fact, when we think about I see you, it's like Swami is telling you, I am seeing you all
Yes,
the time.
probably. Yeah.
And if Swami is with you, then there is nothing like critical care because you're in his care.
Yes. I mean, but things just sometimes it doesn't even. I'll just say, "Is this how you want? Is this how you're going to help me?" Uh, and I'll just say, it's sometimes like he's just handing things over to you. He's just looking to do something or whatever. He's just giving it to you. It's just wonderful. Sometimes he'll play hard. I'm used to it now.
Wow. So that's really very beautiful because now you have your own internal personal connect with him.
Correct.
And so perhaps nothing bothers you too much. You don't get too worried about anything or anything untoward happens. Also, you don't really get too depressed.
Yeah,
about
he said
it.
my best devotee is Sthita Prajna, right?
Yes, equanimity.
Yeah, that's who he wants to say is a devotee. So, which is nice. It's a good formula for life, right?
Yes.
In any personal or professional life.
And I think having that connect helps you to maintain
Absolutely,
that
it does.
equanimity.
It does.
And when you think about your profession, it's so important to maintain that composure, especially when you are in CCU and when there's so many things happening. It's a very tense situation, right? Every patient is a tense situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I think even if you're doing for 45 plus years, every patient is new, every problem is new. It may be this problem you've seen 100th time, but it's a different patient. So it's always the challenges are there.
And when you know he's there,
Yeah.
it helps you to maintain composure.
And I've also learned that, you just keep working as long as you can. He has worked, right, all his life. I remember him saying once that how many villages have I gone up and down, up and down, up and down. So same things, your life goes on. I mean, as long as you can contribute positively, You have to. I feel like, for me, I feel like God has been very kind, is very kind to any person, not just me. When you have your own health of people around you, like your immediate family, because I know a lot more people who are a lot more smarter than me have not achieved their fullest potential because of some issue in the family. Son is sick or disabled or some other responsibilities. So when God gives you, when all the stars line up, which is not easy to have, when you have good health, your spouse has good health, your children are okay, not just health in every way, whatever your expectations out of life are, they're all going where your way. I mean, always there's no perfect life, there's no perfect family, there's no perfect anything, but things in general have been going well. I feel that you have to do something more than just going to work and coming home. At least that's how I feel. When God blesses you so much, you got to do something more to contribute to the society, to make little bit lives, you strive to make the lives a little bit better for people around you, because that is a very rare, it's not common to have that situation, that you're well off, your health is good, people around you are fine. So you can't just go to job, come home, and look at your back balance, you know.
I mean, that's a very powerful message. And when we look at your life, you always felt that you need to do something to give back to society. Even when you look at your own childhood, your education years, the way you became whatever you became. I think today you can connect the dots and see how Bhagawan perhaps was invisibly guiding you. His unseen hand was there. But you always felt that, there are a lot of people who have invisibly contributed to who I am, and I should, in some ways, keep exploring ways to give back, isn't it? Maybe you should tell us about your journey a bit.
I'm youngest of the five children, and we are four girls and one boy, one brother, and four girls. I'm the youngest of all my sisters. We are doctors, we're medical doctors, and I'm talking about way back. And my mother, she passed away, but she would be more than 100 if she was alive. She was an MA in those days. My father was very much into girls' empowerment and education. In a generation where girls were just to be married, he made his wife go to college, Nizam College, co-education college, and become a school principal. So I come from a very educationally oriented background. My house was like a girls' hostel. All of us were in medical school at the same time, you know, different grades. So I feel that I'm very fortunate to be brought up in such an atmosphere where girls were looked after no different than boys, or um, so education was a priority always. And so I mean, I'm in my family, I was the first one to go to US in 73 with my husband. And but they say that you can take a person out of India, but you can't take India out of them. So it's always there. Your heart tugs always. You're in India mentally. So you want to do something. Something that strive is always there to do something. And over the years, what I have seen is the medical care has come up so much. It's so advanced. It's as good as any advanced country. It's excellent. So there's a explosion of facilities, of technology, of the knowledge, of the capability of the people. So it's fantastic to watch that. And I have always come back. I would say there was no year that it did not come back. Even when my children were young, I came back every year, sometimes more than once a year, sometimes for one day, to help build some programs and institutions. I've always done that. So it was, for me, nothing was a surprise. I was in touch with the systems here. So it was, and I have a lot of connections with my professional colleagues here. So it's kind of almost like growing up together, and observing something blossom very nicely. So I'm very proud to be an Indian. I'm very proud um, to be back here anytime, to learn, to contribute whatever I can. And it's what more do you want in life, right? It's such a full life, I feel. It's a
Absolutely.
blessed life.
Absolutely. And you were also awarded the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award, the government recognizing your contribution to society.
Interestingly, I got that in 2012, January. And a little time later, I said it has to be blessing from Bhagawan.
Swami, yes.
Whenever he does something, he does in a big way. Um, that was a big honor. I was very happy. I've started a school of respiratory therapy. I've tried to do things that are beyond just one at a time or do a feel good type of things. I've always believed in that. For example, during COVID, we were absolutely, I mean, my specialty, lungs and intensive care, was in the middle of the whole storm, eye of the storm. And of course, we got it first before India got hit. So I was right in the middle of organizing expansion. I mean, you had to expand the ICUs, like the whole hospital would be ICU with the same number of specialists. So you had to recruit everybody, train, and so it was interesting experience. And and then India got affected. We were still having, but the peak was here at that time. So we did a lot of. Some medical schools had a help desk every um, morning for them and evening for us. So I helped with that almost for, I think, 380 days. They had a help desk every evening for us and morning for them. Just any questions, any small topic or whatever. So whatever little way we could, we did that. And interestingly, where I will say is you have to think of contributing with with your knowledge. And people were trying to send oxygen. It was mostly respiratory failure. Most patients die from lungs not working, and people were trying to send oxygen concentrators. Oxygen concentrator basically scrubs the nitrogen out and just concentrates oxygen, and you can give maybe 3 liters, 4 liters per minute at the most, and it's one person. You can only give to one person. As you remember, the oxygen crisis was there's plenty of oxygen, but to transport it was a big problem because it's a flammable gas, and there's a lot of problems transporting it. So people were dying of lack of oxygen, although there was plenty somewhere else. So, my thing was with this foundation I work with, I said, let's do oxygen plants that manufacture oxygen. It may be a lot more expensive. It may be like $200,000 compared to maybe 1,000 or 1,500 for oxygen concentrator, but you're going to make 200 liters a minute, and you can supply to all the surrounding hospitals. And 5 liters in COVID patient isn't going to cut it. Most of them require a lot more oxygen. So things like that. So it was very easy to mobilize my colleagues, and it was very easy to mobilize people who want to help here around a project like that. Just say, hey, let's do oxygen plants. Let's not do oxygen concentrators, which maybe help one person at a time. Here you can do help hospitals at a time.
And we did that in our hospitals.
Yeah, so we did two very large, there's different size, very large oxygen plants. And they did several small oxygen plants. So those are the type of things. I think a lot of people think the contribution to anything is only, writing a check, which is one of them. But there are so many other ways you can look at the Sevadals, what they're doing. even bhajan singers, when you're down, who do you go? You go to and listen to bhajan, and you're transported to different world. So I think everybody can do in whatever way they can. That's, I think that, you don't have to have big goals and, huge unrealistic expectations or from yourself. I think you can do whatever that is you can do, and that's good because everybody's experience is unique, everybody's contribution is unique.
You should have the heart to do. As Swami used to always say, the heart is called Hridaya, and for it to be called Hridaya, there should be Daya.
Yes.
Only then it is Hridaya.
And also, it's sharing. So you can have 1 rupee and you can share 10 paisa, or you can have 100 million and not share any. So it's sharing, right? It's not so much. It's whatever you have, whatever you can, in whatever form you can.
Yes. Beautiful. And, as you were talking about your growing up days and how your mother became a principal, but I had learned that your mother actually learned alphabets
Yes.
from your father.
Yes.
So that was quite a thing. So though she was unlettered,
Yeah.
she became so serious about education, and it was thanks to your father who taught your mother to study, and then she really changed herself, and then she changed the entire family. So some way she was a trailblazer.
She was a trail. I think I have to give a lot of credit to my father. In those days they would marry very young, and she didn't know even the alphabet, and he told her that if you don't study, that's it, I'm not coming back. So she had to study. And when she was alive, she was the oldest living Nizam College alumnus, co-education college. He sent her in Nizam days, before even it got merged with, India. And then at one point, she did her MA when we were in medical school. So we were all studying. So house was like house day.
Awesome.
We just loved it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, when I think about it, Mother Ishwarama was the person who asked Swami to start the college for women.
Yes.
Way back in 1968 when Swami started the college.
And the hospital.
Yes, and the hospital. Everything comes as the.
I think mother is the pillar in a family. I think that's where everything comes from. I think to underestimate the role of the mother is a huge mistake. It's huge. I think the children look at the mother and they take a lot of cues. So I think from my mother, what we learned is that women empowerment doesn't mean you're going to go protest on the streets. It doesn't mean you can be feminine and still be empowered, right? You can still be a mother, you can still be a wife, you can still be cooking dinner at home and feeding your family. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that is a wholesome person. That's how I feel.
Exactly. And your famous line, behind every successful woman, there is
hungry man
waiting for dinner.
At one stage, it was true. Yeah.
It's really beautiful. The reason I'm talking about this is Bhagawan also was so clear about, women having education and women being able to being able to express themselves in every way, even as they look after their family and look after their homes. And I think your life has been a beautiful example of that.
Yeah, I think, in many ways, you have to be blessed. I think for a woman, there are challenges, definitely more than men, because you have to have a very supporting spouse. So I always say, you have a supporting spouse, or you train them to be supportive. I always say that. because otherwise I think there's so many more challenges for sure. Otherwise it doesn't work. If you don't have that kind of support system, I think a lot of credit has to go to the supporting. Even children have to be very supportive of your adventures.
Absolutely. And talking about adventures, you are now into learning Sanskrit. That's quite interesting. You are always interested in India. You always came to Bharat, but and someone who goes by the values of Bharat, and now you are learning Sanskrit. It's quite a thing. So from where did you get this inspiration?
I mean, during COVID time, as I mentioned, we were under a lot of tension. We wouldn't even get anybody into the house because we're taking directly care of patients. So even the ladies who will come and help you with the housework or whatever, nobody visited our houses. So we were completely socially isolated, going to work, coming back. And we pre-vaccine days, when you came back to work, you don't know if you're going to give it to your family. I know I didn't have very young kids at home because my kids were out of the house. But those younger colleagues whose kids were still at home, they would stay in a hotel. They never saw their kids for 2 months. They would see FaceTime because they don't want to give the infection. Because at one time we had no vaccine also. So, people are dying so for me, coming home and then it was 24/7 involvement because of things were changing. Nobody knew how to treat all of those things. So at that time, I had to distract myself. So two things I started. One was big time cooking and big time some distraction, totally different. I always wanted to learn Sanskrit. So I started and I've been learning for the last 4 years now. Very beautiful language. And when you actually read Valmiki Ramayanam in Sanskrit, it makes a huge difference. Suddenly, that myth is gone. And it just tells you how advanced our civilization was. Even if you say it happened 10,000 years ago, maybe it happened before, how advanced it was. They're talking about democracy, they're talking about how you choose a king. You talk about women empowerment, how Sita Mata's fights with Ram that she will go. She says, my parents didn't bring up to be just in the Antapuram, I have to go. She's so firm. You'll be amazed when you really um, read those. So I think there's such a wealth, and I feel sometimes, at least better that I'm doing now, but I wish they introduce in the schools, to learn of our rich culture and our values. And but it's been an amazing experience to do homework. They give you homework, you have a peer group, you have exams. So I'm going through all those pains.
Wow. And going through it joyfully.
I'm doing it's a joyful stress. There's something called joyful stress. So you enjoy that.
Wow. So tell me also, you're one of those first women to be the president of the American College of Chest Physicians, also the Association of American Physicians of Indian origin. You're the first woman president. What values from India, from being an Indian, helped you to navigate through the challenges of being in a new land and, you becoming successful, being able to contribute and also grow?
When we left in 1973, interestingly, there were not many women physicians in USA. So if somebody saw you in the hospital, they presumed you were a nurse.
Oh.
They would always call you nurse. They never thought you're a doctor. Even in medical colleges, the percentage of women was very much less. And going from Hyderabad, Usmania Medical College, where we had 35% in my class in those days already women, and we had women professors, we had administrators, director of medical services. It was nothing great that you saw a woman in a big position before I left. And once I went there, I said, "Oh my God, this is interesting." And now it's different. Almost half of the class or more than half of the class is women. even there. But at that time, it was quite different. And, I was always active. Even in my school days, I was school president and everything. So I can't sit still. I have to do something outside of my work. So the Indian Physicians Organizations is the largest ethnic organization. So I was the first woman president in their 13-year history. Interestingly, the year I was the president, American Medical Association, AMA, had their first woman president in 150 years.
Oh.
So we were both from Texas, Dr. Dickey and myself. And then in 13 years, they elected one. And 150 years, she was the woman president. So I think we are quite advanced in women empowerment, recognition of women. I mean, if you go through our mythology or history, maybe there were some down periods in between from whatever invasions or whatever, where women had to be kind of tucked away for various reasons. But if you look at, our Sanatana culture, it was always there. So I think with my values, what the values I had from India kept me grounded. I felt like they kept me grounded. So I didn't have to, it's not like a flake. I was, just seeing this, seeing that, getting carried away. I felt I was grounded. That prepared me. And also the Indians in US are all once you leave the country, you become very, very cohesive. I had the best support in all my male colleagues. I had the best support. I could go to any part of USA, and I could pick up the phone and I can talk with somebody, and they'll come pick me up. I had friends everywhere. So that really, I think that was that's kind of an ethnic organization still, although it's pretty large. Then to that prepared me to go into all American professional organization. That gave me a lot of experience, because there you were doing you were involved in nitty gritty as well. Whereas here in American professional organizations, I was the first international medical graduate. I was the third woman president in 73 years, but I was the first one who was not educated in USA medical school. They call us international medical graduate. I was the first woman to be the president. So it was very good experience for me, and motivated a lot of other people to get involved. And I feel when you're in such positions, more than anything, you can help build things. Although a lot of times it seems like a thankless job in those administrative positions, but you can make a difference. You can build programs. You can change the direction. So I think it's kind of gratifying, and I think more women should do it. Honestly, they do a very good job.
And it's really it leaves you with a great sense of fulfillment.
Yeah, I think women do it. We're more consensus builders than just say this is how it should be done. In the end, you may steer the direction in the way you want it, but you do it by consensus. So I think there's a difference in the style of doing things, but I think mostly the sincerity is there, the devotion is there, and I think more women should get involved, and I'm seeing that now.
And Bhagwan also used to talk a lot about it. Swami used to talk about Gargi, Maitreyi, and all these women from ancient Indian culture. And Swami started Ladies' Day just to bring this into everyone's consciousness. And so today you find every month there is Ladies' Day celebrated. Every year it's part of the birthday celebrations. You have the Ladies' Day, and somehow all these values of Indian culture is getting reiterated, right?
Yes. Yeah, I think the impression that outsiders have of India, of Indian women, is I think slowly getting, they're getting to know all the, women leadership in politics, in corporations, they're doing extremely well. I mean, how can you ignore 50% of the workforce? you're foolish to do that, you know?
Absolutely. Sometime back, we had the President of India, who is now a woman, who had come to Prasanthi Nilayam. Tell us, how does it feel for you to come to Prasanthi?
I mean, I must admit, I have not seen the glory days when Bhagawan was in the body, and I hear all these things. So for me, like, I watch a lot, but I still don't know. I was asking you today, where is Purnachandra Hall versus Kulwant Hall and Ganesh Gate? When you all talk, I don't have that connect. I don't know what it means. But for me, when I come here, it's a place. It's a place that I can be very peaceful. I can go to. I love the bhajans. I can go to the bhajans and just enjoy them in person, and I can go spend little time in the hospital. So I think the whole atmosphere is just relaxing at the same time, very soul fulfilling and nourishing for me. Um, like I said, I have no comparison. People were telling me when I came here first time, they said, "Oh, I wish you came earlier. It would be this, it would be that," and But I'm grateful that I'm here now. I'm not. I'm not going back. This is the time, and this is how I'm supposed to see it. You know. So that is absolutely fine for me.
And you come every year now.
I come more than once a year.
And Bhagwan has created such a beautiful instrument out of you for his
And Guru
medical
Purnima
mission.
this time was my first time in all these years.
For Guru Purnima.
Yeah, I came for some meeting, and then I just stayed back. It was very nice. First time for me experience.
Wow. It's really beautiful that, though you had gone to Hyderabad, you came back only to spend these a few minutes with us. And I guess you loved coming back to Prasanthi.
Yeah, this is my home now. The best part about this divinity is that you don't. I never had, I never connected with him before. I never had a conversation, never had interview, never had. I never went to Sai school. I was never, studied here. I did not come with a recommendation from somebody who's connected. I did not give big donation, and there's nothing I've done, But I still have the connect one on one. That's the best part. So I think it's a beautiful journey for me.
And everyone should discover their beautiful journey.
Yes. I think it's all their own experience is their experience. It's not somebody else's. That's what stays with you, I feel.